we're back. This is a week of our Start Selling Your Art workshop, which was a new workshop for me. It's kind of stuff that I've been saying a lot over the last 7 years, but delivered in a completely different way. So these 3-day workshops are pretty new. So it's been really nice to share them with you all. I've been working on them. I was telling someone it's taken me about 50 or 60 hours to pull these together, especially in slides, which I've never done before. So it's been really nice to do something a bit different and share the slides. In fact, I'd love to get all your views, in fact, how that's been, seeing it visually. But so today I'm doing a Q&A session. We've had questions sent in to me, and I have, as you can see on the screen, amazing members of our community. In fact, Nicola, I'm just going to unmute you now. Hello, everybody. So we've got Chris, Beth, Helen, Nicola, Nish with us as well, who will also share their experience of being a member of United Artspace and how they find things. And I'm sure if there's any questions, they won't mind answering too, if they can. Ryan's tuning in. Hello, Ryan. And Mick's with us. Belinda's with us. Hello. So some questions have been sent in. There was one about copyright. And what I will do is dig out a link to a podcast, because we have got a podcast all about copyright. One of them was about an image. It was an Audrey Hepburn image. In fact, Belinda, I think it may have been you that asked this question. So there is a podcast which I'll drive you to, because I go into much more detail about that. But with the Audrey Hepburn image, there is something called common. It's like in the public domain. When an image is in the public domain and it's been used and used over and over and over and over again, and there's so many different people that have used that same image, it kind of becomes in the common domain, which means it's lost its rights, basically. And so an image like that it usually fits in that. So I talk about that in the podcast, though, so I'll send you a link to that. I think Marita's on the case. So a question came in asking how you actually use the hub. You get a login sent to you as soon as you sign up, and then that login opens up the hub platform, which is where you get access to all the video content and lessons. That's your own private login. And there's also the community, which is a separate login. So think of the communities on a different platform like Facebook would be. So Circle is a separate login. A lot of people have said to me around money, said that I need to save up and come back. So what I want to say to this, and I say this every single time, that if paying for the hub is going to put you under financial strain and stress, then please don't do it. You've got to take care of your finances, and I understand things are tight. And so 100%, if it's going to put you in that situation, don't do it. However, sometimes people do use that as their story because they're really scared to take the step. And so no time, no money are usually the factors that people come up with first of all. And there's some fear around joining that is feeding that thought. So if it's that reason, I would love you to pull that fear forwards, because people have joined. I was talking to Laura this morning. She joined and she did not know how she was going to pay for it. So she came into the hub and she said, I'm going to use the hub to figure out how to pay for the hub. I really want to be part of this. And she used the content to figure out how to pay for that first month's fee. And now she's a full-time living artist. So sometimes the answers, taking that leap. And when people say, I need to go and save, or I need to go and earn the money and come back, the hub might help you make that money. I can't guarantee it, of course. It depends on so many factors. But I just want to share that because so many people have joined and it's gone on to help them when they've really focused on what money they want to earn. Another one is time as well. A lot of people have said, I just don't have time. So I'm going to go around the group in a minute and talk about the time investment, because everybody's different in terms of what time they have and how much time they want to put towards being in the hub. So for me, when I first started out years ago, I had a lot of things going on with babies and trying to juggle other things as I was making money. So to get United Artspace off the ground, I had to dedicate 1 hour a week to begin with. And I knew I had to dedicate that time because I wanted to fulfill a dream and it was never happening. And so I said to myself, 1 hour a week, I'm going to carve out that time and make it non-negotiable. And I had someone come take care of my babies. And that hour was where I began. And then it became 3 hours and I upped it. Renelle, who I shared during the third workshop, also did the same. She didn't have time in the beginning. So she started with 1 hour a week as well. And Renelle is now a full-time artist doing this like crazy all over the place residencies and so the way our members tend to use it is some use it regularly because they like to be accountable, they like to check in, so they will commit to doing the live sessions that happen or watching on a replay so they feel connected and stay in up to date with what's happening. Some people prefer to just dip in and use it in their own time, so they know they're working through the roadmap. They maybe dedicate 1 hour a month and they show up and do the roadmap and they check in with us every now and again and say, I've just made it here and I've made it here. And they're maybe just doing 1 hour a month. So you can use it in any way that you like and apply as much time as you have. The more time you have, the more you'll get from it. I'm going to come round to the others now to talk about this in terms of time, because it's a big topic. Chris, I know I'm going to start with you because I know we've had many conversations about time,
Yeah.
lack of and such. How do you manage the time towards working on your art and then also this part of being in the hub? And
I think, yeah, that's a great question. I think oh, the thing that has really helped me is to be kinder to myself and to say, just because I can't do 50 hours a week doesn't mean that I've failed. If I can keep my head in the game and keep listening to podcasts and keep attending to it, keeping it just even in the forefront of my mind, like that counts. And so that dipping in and out, I mean, I was listening to Laura's podcast yesterday while I was weeding outside, and I was just so like, yes, this is why I want to be a part of this, because her excitement and her kind of shock and awe of like, I can't believe this is a job. I'm having so much fun, and that's what you said to me the other day when I was said, selling is like running up a sandhill, and you were like, how can you have fun? Um, I posted this, but it lightened my heart, and I thought that's why I want to do this. And so that time investment um, can be even just a little bit of time can enliven the rest of your time. It brings so much more meaning into all of those other things that you can do. So I think right now, finishing up the school year, I'm still homeschooling one child. Um, I'm fitting it in where I can. Podcasts, keeping a sketchbook with me, journaling all the time, being aware of my mindset. So,
yeah,
but you have to make a beginning. You just have to make a beginning. And that what you were saying about, I remember making that decision to approach my wife and say I would like to be a part of this, and she said to me, I haven't seen you lit up like this in a long time. It can be very scary to ask a significant other or to take money from your family to do something like this.
mm,
Um, because oftentimes I think as artists too, we already feel like we're being a little selfish. And
yeah,
so taking that again and saying, let, I want a little bit more for me, can feel like a big deal. And it is a big deal, but it's also, this is another thing you told me early on when I was in the hub, like allow your family to love you that way. And I was crushed by that. And they have, and they've actually, been getting up to watch lives with me, and like you're all an integral part of my life now. And
mm,
I'm being kind to myself, saying like, okay, it didn't happen overnight, but I've got like a 3 to 5 year plan, and I am making progress, and it's easy to judge the little progress against what your ideas are, but also to be able to say it's progress.
yeah.
That's more than I had a year and a half ago.
I love it.
So
So you've been taking part in the Start Selling Your Art Challenge, haven't you? The workshop, and
yeah,
and I loved that. I saw the Mary Poppins quote this morning. I
yeah,
love Mary Poppins. But yeah, Chris was saying about, just how it can feel like a slog. And I felt like that last year, actually. I had a bit of a tough year last year, and I didn't hide it. My mental health took a bit of a nosedive last year around March, April time. And I started to feel like it was getting a bit serious. I got a team and there's responsibilities, and it was getting a bit heavy and a bit serious. And I remember the same, like you, Chris, just thinking this is starting to feel hard. And so I asked myself that question, like, how can I make this more fun? How can I make it lighter? And often we don't realize that we do have the power to do that. And that's when I went shopping and went and bought a pineapple and put a pineapple on my head, like you do, and we did have fun actually in that Make Art Your Living event last year. It was good fun all because of that pineapple.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and you've done such a great job actually. You've got lots of commitments, you're homeschooling, you've got, big responsibilities. And I think that owning that part of yourself and showing up for that has been an inspiration to us all, actually, Chris, because you spend so much time dedicating that to yourself, but to others as well. And we thank you for that.
Thank you. No, I'm again so grateful that we all kind of crossed paths when we did, because I had always wanted to transition after homeschooling my kids. This is the third of my children. And she and I are having a ball because she's an artist. And so we're just, we're having a good time, but I'm also seeing how people who are raising children get to a place where they think, I'm going to jump into my creative life after children, but they don't realize what a big shift that is. And you have to start making a little bit of effort at a time when you can, to start integrating it so that you can step into it fully, when the time opens up. And like I said, I'm getting there. I always want it to be like, today I want to spend 20 hours drawing, but 10 minutes is good. That's part of the thing. And being able to also live the life that you want your children to lead, that's a big deal. Like saying, because we get so used to telling our children how to be. I've had lots of conversation in the last 2 months with parents who are seeing their young adults kind of moving into stages, and they're feeling like, I've been telling somebody how to live for so long, I don't know how to live. And I'm like, so you need to work on that, because that's the next stage of showing them how doing all those things you've told them to do will lead to a full and joyful life. And if you're just going to sit there lamenting the fact that nobody's paying attention to you, like, that was the point. You wanted them to move on. So being left with yourself could be hard unless you've done some work to be ready to be with yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Another question that's just come in was around the support. Someone was asking, do you get support once you're inside the hub membership, or is it all kind of like self-study? So the lessons, the way it works, the lessons are released on our hub platform website, and you do those in your own time at your own pace, and then 100% you get supported during the hub. It's one thing we invest a lot of time and cultivate a community to support each other too, which I'm sure everyone here will speak of the community. It is amazing. Of course, I'm biased, but honestly, that's one of the things that we get credited on, is the community and the people, because it's a non-judgmental, very, very supportive space. So what tends to happen is you've got access to the community on Circle, and in there's people all around the world that you can ask advice of and ask questions to. We have reps inside there. Chris and Nish are reps, and Angela, Jenny, Kirsty, Marita is our community leader. So we have lots of people inside that community that are experienced, that have been doing this for years. We have beginners too, lots of beginners inside our community. So there's lots of people at different stages, but it never feels like that, does it? Would you all agree? We're just all at the same stage, because no matter what level we're all at, or stage in the roadmap, we're all going through these ups and downs. Even the people that are further down, who are established, are still going through the same ups and downs as the beginners. in the valley of despair, back up, back down. But the community is amazing. And then also, you know, if you don't want to be part of the community, which you don't need to be, there's lots of members. I would say 20% of members are not part of the community. Some people prefer to just work, you know, on their own and not be part of that bigger conversation, which is absolutely fine. You can work in your own way. And then there's also an email support that we have. We usually get back to people within 48 hours or less, usually much less, but we say 48 hours. And so you can email us at any time as well with any questions that you have, and we'll get back to you. So you do get supported. Beth, I know you've been a member for a while now.
Yeah.
What's been your experience inside the hub? And you've got a demo, haven't you? So there's a demo that Beth's done for us, and you know you've been part of the community. So how's the hub helped you over time?
It's like breathing. You're just such a vital part of. I'm going to cry in a minute. It's just stupid.
Oh,
Of my life, and I joined the hub probably in, I can't remember, 2019, but I was a monthly paid member initially.
Yeah.
And I didn't find that worked for me. I came out of it because I thought I was paying every month but not doing all the work, so I was putting pressure on myself because I hadn't done the work, so I stopped doing it. When I came out of the hub, I really missed it. I missed everybody. I just felt completely cut off again. So I rejoined the next available slot that you could rejoin and paid for the year. And I would never not be a member. I used, I think, my Christmas money to join, but I'd ask people for money so that I could pay for the next year. But I honestly couldn't be without it. They're just such an amazing, amazing bunch of friends. They're like family. There's always somebody to go online to and chat wherever they are. There's always somebody. Everybody here, you know. It's just wonderful community.
Yeah, and that's so important, isn't it? You know, to have those people. Yeah. We're all on the same pathway. And I share that I'm going through this with you all. You know, we're all on the same journey. I make mistakes. I'm on my ups and downs as well. And so I think that's where we're all quite vulnerable and quite honest and open inside the community.
When you start, you go through different stages. At the beginning, you're thinking, yeah, I can do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to sell this. And you're full of enthusiasm. And then you do sell and it's great. And you think, oh, yeah, I can take it to the next level. You get to the next level and then suddenly there's a plateau. You know, and then you have to learn to stop beating yourself up, go back a bit, and you know it's a constant roller coaster. But we're all at the same, you know, it's happening to all of us. We reach different levels, and it's just amazing community.
Yeah, and those times when we do go into the valley of despair, that's when the group is amazing because everyone lifts you back up again. I have to say a big thank you to all the members for that, because when people come into the group and we share wins, we share wobbles, you know, it's real inside there. And when you have those moments, that's where I love the hub is there. We want to celebrate with you. We want to be there when you have those moments where you go in the valley of despair and we need to get you back out again. There was a great quote actually from Ashley Longshaw, and I can't remember the exact words now, but Ashley Longshaw is a really successful artist. She sells in the tens of thousands and she's had her work in all these amazing places. And she shared a quote recently saying, it was something along the lines that even she has dry spells. You know, there are moments when she is not selling. And there's this perception sometimes that you get to that level and the money's just pouring in constantly and your work's flying. And she said, even, you know, there's moments where I don't know when the next work's going to come in. And actually she was saying around how those moments where you don't have the sales, this is how she looks at it. It's a bit of a gift, because it allows you some breathing space and time to get connected to your work again. And as artists, we need those moments. And I thought that's a really amazing way to look at it. Hard when you've got to pay bills, I know, and you're worrying about when the next bit of money's coming in. But knowing that that's normal, that's what I found really refreshing about that quote. But being part of this community, I think it makes you realise that this is normal, that what we're going through is normal, that it is up and down. So I'm so happy that you came back, Beth. And I remember that day when you came back. So I remember when you left, and then I remember when you was like, I'm joining again. And I was like, yeah, she's coming back.
I wouldn't not be in it. I'll be in it forever. I will.
Thank you. Helen, I'm going to jump to you. Helen, let me know what is your experience with the hubbing? I love your artwork in the background. I mean, this is one of the things
I do self-promotion.
Exactly, get it out there. I love it, because I think this is one of the things that's been incredible about your journey is your confidence in your art making and you finding your voice. And I don't want to put words into your mouth, but that's one of the things that I've really enjoyed watching along the way of you, really finding yourself. So what's your experience been as a member?
When I first sort of like came back into my art, I'm another one of these who had 45 years of not doing art. I did the odd bit for school in creating masks for a play or anything like that. So after the death of our son, it was a real wake-up call. It is, you live now, or you might just as well pack up your bags, go and hide in a corner and just not do anything. And I thought, what do I love the most? And it was art, pure and simple. So I went through some therapy and all of a sudden it was, wow, this is a passion. And so I just started creating and looking online, and that's when your UAS started appearing, little bits here, there, everywhere. And I thought, that's for me. So I did one of your taster sessions and that was it. I was sold, join up, don't care whether I've got the money or not, go for it. At the time, it was more Facebook based, so it was always in my feed. And when you moved into the circle, I thought, I don't know if I can handle this. But I thought, I need the community. I need that safe space where I can say exactly how I'm feeling, because nobody else gets it. Absolutely nobody else gets it. To everybody else, art was a hobby. It was, it's just what she does. That's sort of, it's keeping her quiet, just let her get on with it. And it's not going anywhere. It doesn't mean anything. And they've slowly started to take me seriously. And they can see how much joy and passion that I have for what I do. And as you say, the confidence in my art of why I paint what I paint. And as you can see, it's somewhat surreal. And I love it because this picture is the whole of me. The spiritual connection with the ancients through stones, spirit guides of flowers, trees, you name it. That's me in a painting. And I can talk about that to anybody now.
Oh, wonderful.
And the community, because I have this very centered place of I know who I am, I can share that with anybody on the circle. If anybody's feeling down, I can say, you know what? Yeah, I've been there. But you still survive it. Yeah, it's hard. But the circle as a community is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, wonderful people. Oh, what do you think, Helen, has been the most pivotal part of this in terms of you growing so much confidence in speaking about your work now? Do you think there's something that clicked for you at a certain point where you thought, oh, this is what it's about? Or do you think that this confidence has grown over time from doing lots of different parts?
I think the confidence is partly the way that you do the roadmaps. It's little bits and you get confident in that little bit and you think, yeah, I can move to the next little bit. And it's all bite size. And when you start learning about yourself, you can sort of like think, look at, oh, I feel anxious. Why do I feel anxious? And once you've got rid of that, you'll start looking at, but something came to create that anxiety, saying, and until 3 years ago, I had no idea that my childhood was as bad as it was because I hid that from me. And when you start seeing that and you can talk to yourself about it, it's having a safe space. And you start giving little bits of yourself and into the community, because it is such a safe space and non-judgmental. You can offer those little bits out and you think, well, actually, it wasn't that bad. And if I can say it to them, why can't I say it to somebody else? And it sort of just starts to leak out. And you said, well, actually, I've said that my childhood wasn't great. And you can start thinking, well, actually, I can now say the reason why, or some of the reasons why my childhood wasn't great. And that's where the confidence grows. You become comfortable saying one thing, and you start realizing you can then say something else. And you don't necessarily see that you've done it, but you feel it on the inside. It's odd and really difficult to express. And that's why I paint, because until I've painted it, I can't verbalize it. And it all comes from inside. Once it's on a piece of paper or on a canvas, I can think, yeah, that's what it means.
Yeah.
And I can tell everybody else because it's there.
I love that. I love that. It's amazing. I think when I've asked people what they've got from the hub, in feedback forms and in conversation, I think one of the biggest things that people say to me is confidence. And it's confidence in my work, confidence to speak, confidence to prize, confidence to put myself out there. It all comes back to confidence at the end of the day, confidence to take that first step in selling, confidence to, push this forward, and being courageous then to grow it even further. And so
the one thing I will say is I've always had a reluctance, because I don't think a lot of my images would translate very well into print form. However, while I was on holiday, and when I'm on holiday, I mess about with watercolors or whatever, the same. And a couple of those images, somebody said, I love it, I want to buy it. And I thought, you know what, this is what I can print. But because of looking on the circle and seeing and reading over the past few years other people's experiences, I had half an idea of the questions I was going to ask when I walked into a printer's. I didn't just say, I want a print of this, what do I do? I could say, this is what I would like it to look like. This is my vision of how I want it presented. Can you do that for me? And then it was a conversation to come to arrangements between us as to what wasn't possible. So I didn't go in there half-cocked. To say, through the circle and the hub and all the community, I had a good idea of where I wanted to go with it.
Yeah. A lot of people have said that to me as well, is that being part of the community, you learn so much from the questions that other people ask. So just by being there, sometimes you don't need to participate, because some people are really scared in communities. And I understand, to ask a question and you're in a group and you don't really know anyone, and you're worried about whether anyone will judge you for asking a really silly question or something that you should know. And so there are a lot of people that sit in the sidelines looking at the other questions that people are posting and learning from those people, and even not even a question, but people just sharing the way they've put their work out in the world. People share, I've just sold this is what I tried, and everyone's really open. There's no one really holding back, like, I've got this secret sauce and the secret way of doing it, I'm not going to share it with you. Everyone is just so open with, I've just tried this, it did this. And you learn so much from other people, not just because people often say, how much support do I give? And I give as much as I can inside the group. I do a Q&A each month, and we do a review plan do session. But honestly, the knowledge actually comes from the community. It really does, because the community, the people putting all this into practice and experiencing it and doing it and living it and sharing it. And so, yeah, thank you for reminding me that of Helen, because the other thing, Helen, you've just reminded me of, is the SOS playlist as well inside the hub, because quite often there are certain mindset blocks that will crop up, fear being a big one. And so inside the hub, there's a playlist right at the bottom. If you scroll right to the bottom of the hub when you join, there's an SOS playlist, and that has a few of the top mindset blocks, fear being one of them, and how you can overcome fear in 3 steps. I usually break things down into 3 or 7. Usually 3. 3 is my number. Helen, do you have any advice for anyone who's maybe thinking of joining, who's sitting on the fence, terrified? Do you have any advice for anyone who's...
If you can afford it, do it, because you don't have to do it all at once. To say, when you sign up, you go through your wonderful introduction and you can go through how to use it. And don't be afraid of not looking straight away. Do the introductory bit, have a look at the roadmap, read the first bit, and if you think, well, actually, yeah, I can do that, and that, but I'm not ready to take the next step, and that's absolutely fine. There is no pressure on anybody to say you have got to be selling in the next 12 months. It is always going to be you. If you need an accountability group, that can be arranged for you. If you just want to sit back and make the art, but know that if you feel inside that somewhere along the way you will want to push this slightly further, if you're already a member of the hub, you can get the resources straight away and start moving when your feet are ready to start traveling.
I love that, when your feet are ready. Yes.
If you can afford it, do it. I ummed and ahed, and I thought, you know what? It's coming up for my birthday. That's my birthday present.
Oh, I love
and my husband said, yeah, that's fine. And so far, I mean, it's only couple of years, 18 months, couple of years down the line, and I wouldn't change it for anything. It was the best birthday present I ever gave to me.
Oh, you make me cry now. So lovely. You've just reminded me, we have hub turtles as well. So, you know, some people inside the community get in there, they go through all the content, they start taking action, you know, they're action takers, they thrive off adrenaline, they're kind of like hammering through everything. Sonia Raymond, I'm talking to you if you're listening. She's like in the group, she's doing all the things, and she's going,
Brian's another one.
Yeah. And then some of us, I'm a turtle. We're turtles. And we take our time, and we need time to process what we're faced, and we go through this, and then we piece it together and think, okay, where's this going to fit now? And we sit with something for a while. Okay, I'm going to just sit with this until I take the next step. Now I'm ready for, and that's okay. I am 100% a turtle. I mean, I've been writing my book now for 3 years. If there's ever a bigger turtle, it's me. And so, yeah, you can, like Helen says, it's about doing this at your own time, in your own way. You can't fall behind. This is what I love about the hub. Because often if you do a course, people get really worried. I've seen it in these workshops. I'm falling behind. That's one of the biggest phrases I see people saying. I'm falling behind, putting pressure. Like, I've got to keep up. And so the hub has been designed to work at your own pace. You can't actually fall behind inside the hub, because you have the roadmap. You decide where you're at. We decide where you're at based on what we feel would be best to work on at that stage, based on what you've already done. And then you chip away, and we're there 24/7 in the community to help you. If you get stuck, you can come and reach us. And so at every hurdle, you've got someone to come and ask, do you think this card is all right? Do you think this sounds okay? Because one of the things that I've realized doing this myself as well is having someone to ask for reassurance is a big thing. You know, you when you do it alone, and you've just got that finished piece of artwork and there's something not quite right, and you just want to ask someone and there's no one there, or you've just written the bio and you're not sure if you've put too much personal information in it, or, you know, is it too waffly? These are the kinds of questions you can come and bring to the community, to the group. And the great thing is we've all been there. So every type of question that you're going to ask, we will have seen it. We've been doing this now for years. So I don't think there's any question you could ask us that we've not come across before. Nicola, I'm going to jump to you. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Tell me.
So many names I know, and so many faces I see on tiny little thumbnails. So it's lovely to meet everybody.
It is, isn't it? I love doing these sessions because I usually just see tiny little faces on thumbnails as well. So it's nice to have my screen full of beautiful faces. And so let me know, Nicola, how was life before you joined the hub, and how has it impacted you and your journey?
Well, 3 words, really. Everyone, dull and boring before. Look, the sense of belonging that I feel in the community in United Art Space is massive. Because in my real life, my background is IT, and my life is about raising kids and getting through just the everyday challenges, a lot of firefighting, really. But so I've done the Artist's Way a couple of times, and it talks about tribes and finding your people, and I'd ask this friend and that friend to go to the theater or, a watercolor class or whatever. No, doesn't interest me. I thought, okay, I'm being told something here that those aren't, they're not wanting to do what I want to do, which is create. And I've always been creative. But like the idea can just sit in your head for decades until we sit up and pay attention. And sometimes it takes a global pandemic to make us sit up and pay attention. And in my case, yeah, that was the big thing. I was writing a book, a fiction book at the time, and it was quite dark. And I had to walk away from it because there was enough darkness in reality. And also, I could never see the end of the book. I know you'll feel my pain when I talk about that. So, you know what? I spoke to my writer friend, and I said, "Listen, is it the end of the world if I park this?" And she says, "No, you need to park this, Nicola. Go for it." And I had always dabbled in art. I had made a couple of pieces that went on and raised money at charities, and I'm thinking, well, it can't be that bad. And sometimes the germ of the idea is, if it sits in your head long enough, it will drive you insane. And that's where I was getting to. That's the point I was getting to, the point of insanity. And then along comes the pandemic. And so I had to sit down and start doodling. It was always typography or calligraphy, that kind of thing. And it got more and more ornate, and it got more and more bonkers. And I was like, okay, pay attention to this. And I was noticing how much the art was helping my mental health as well. I mean, we sailed. I know COVID was dreadful for so many people. I'm so upset about that. But for me and my little family, it was a blessing in a way, because we got to nurture ourselves. We didn't have to look outside. We just got to nurture ourselves. And I started off really small. I used to just buy art supplies secondhand because we were on one salary, and there just wasn't enough. I think I found you through Nick Wilton. So Nick Wilton would have come on my radar somehow, and I was like, oh, there's a place in the UK. I don't have to tune into like Pacific time. I was like, okay, is she kosher? Will she take all my money? Oh my goodness, the cynical questions that go through your head, and you're kind of going, well, we can't afford it. And you know what? We can talk ourselves into whatever situation we want. But I'll tell you a really good story, right? Because, we talk in the community, we talk about the value of, let's say, an art piece. Yeah. And you could sell your art piece for €10 and I could sell it for 10,000 because that's the value that I put on it. But speaking of value and the value of the membership, right? And I always say to this about, let's say if someone buys the Artist's Way book, or if someone subscribes to a membership like this community, isn't it cheaper than therapy? I always say that it's cheaper than therapy, because if it's giving you the kind of freedom, the mental and spiritual and emotional freedom that you cannot get anywhere else, because as I said, none of my friends were coming out to the theater or attending classes with me. So I was going to these things alone, and I was like, there's got to be people like me. There's got to be people as weird and bonkers as me. And guess what? Here you are.
Here we are.
And that's the thing. Like you get on the hub, and I found it hard as well getting onto Circle, but now I freaking love Circle. It's great. But not only are we talking art, sometimes we're talking business. We're also talking about life. Like Beth, you and I were chatting about meditation, and there's this app and there's that app and the other, and it's just talking about whatever's going on in your life, and you can get as in depth or as light as you want, And I remember when I first kind of got quite active. So I've been part of the community for about 2 years now, and again the skepticism was very high for those first 8 weeks. I did the 7 Keys, loved it, discovered it was actually the secret to life, and the secret to, you know, the book, the manuscript that's been sitting on the hard drive forever. You know, that's going to be solved in time with the 7 Keys. So after that period, I started getting more active, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to test this crowd out. You know, they say they're non-judgmental, and they say that they're, you know, all inclusive. Are they really? You know, and sorry,
no, I love hearing this, because I know it's real. It's more than ever right now online.
It's real, and you just have to stick your hand up and say, you know what, I need to really know that you're kosher. Anyway, so I would have put together a fairly long post about kind of childhood stuff, a little bit like what Helen was talking about, a little bit of this is why I am where I am today.
Yeah.
And the whys, the reasons were not all that nice.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to go into super big details. And then I said, you know, I found out that I was neurodiverse, and you know, I had some difficulties in my family, and there was this operation, and I thought, well, if they can handle this, they can. You know, I'm so. The reaction I got back from that post, and I'm sure a few of you have read it way back. The reaction was just acceptance. I hear you. I see you. I acknowledge you. It was just total acceptance. It was that sense of belonging.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is massive. And it is really throughout the community. I always say about the Artist Way and United Art Space, you know, the idiots don't come to these communities. You know, we're kind of lucky in that way. That the people who come to these communities are the folks who kind of share similar values. We're all really different. We're so different. It's not even funny, but we're fairly good-hearted, and we just want the freedom to be who we are, be that on paper, be that with a lump of clay, be that with jewelry, whatever your medium is. And that's the great thing. There's such a range of people. Like, you know, there's the lady who sculpts horses.
Yeah.
You know, Alexandra. Like, what?
Yeah.
Just blows my mind when I see her stuff. Nish, I see your I'm like, oh, I'm drooling, you know, at your work. And yeah, there's always, now and then, there's the odd feeling of, oh, am I as good as her, or am I further along as he is?
Yeah.
And there's always going to be someone to help talk you down, to say, you know what, I felt the exact same. You know, just focus on the work, trust the process, and there's not really much room for ego when you're making art.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I love all of that insight. I've been making little notes on my little post-it note in front of me every time you say something that I've got to come back to, because you know the feeling of fear, you know, around, is this real? I remember, Chris, when you joined, you were like that, when you were like, is she real? Please say she's real. because I mean, I've got to admit, I'm not really on social media very much. In fact, never. I don't have a social media account except for the United Art Space one. I came off in the pandemic. And I have not missed it. So I have a Facebook account with no friends, purely just because I can run the United Art Space page. So I am very, very particular about what I see on social media. So I actually don't see there's obviously a lot of stuff out there that is awful, and people telling lies, and so when I run these events, what hits me hard, and I have to mentally prepare myself every time, is the barrage of people making assumptions about, you know, how genuine I am and the intentions behind what I do. And there are some really, really, you know, nasty comments that come flying my way. But I do think it is fueled by everything that must be going on. And there's a lot of stuff, isn't there, Nicola, on social media that does add to us believing that people are out there, and it's dodgy and it's worrying. And
I think it kind of comes down to the get rich quick mentality and the barrage of books that came out, and if you follow all 15 of these principles, then you will be a millionaire, or whatever that goal happens to be. So but look, it is the best money I've ever spent, and I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to the boss, but it's the best money I ever spent, because I'll tell you a story, actually, right? So I'm in Dublin, Ireland, and our clever government decided during the pandemic, when artists and theatre people and screenwriters and everything, when they started losing a load of gigs and money, a think tank came up with the idea of coming up with a basic income for artists, okay? And they decided, okay, we're going to have to run a pilot scheme, and everybody puts their name in the hat, and a computer pulls out 2,000 people on the island of Ireland, and they get a basic income. Now, it's a basic income, lads. It's not, ka-ching. It's small potatoes, but it's enough for me to pay the car tax, and you can spend it however you like. It's an income. So the first 6 months of United Art Space, I was making like bananas. I was making tons of work, nice big canvases. I would always recycle canvases, get someone's old print canvas, like 6 foot by 3 foot, and I'd put a bit of gesso on it, and I'd say, well, there's my free canvas, because I didn't have any cash at the time. But because I was able to make, with the support of the community, I was able to make these things and able to go large, and I was able to be really daring and courageous. And I made some really daring and courageous pieces that then, when I went to apply for the basic income of the arts, I had enough pieces made. I had a book. I published a book 6 months before I joined. And those 2 pieces of information, and my writing a bio and everything, that all went on the application that got sent to the government. And my name got thrown into the hat, and voila, my name got pulled out. And I remember taking the phone call, and actually about a week before the phone call came through, that I'd been accepted, I was talking to my muse, or God, or whatever you want to call it, the universe, and I said, you know what, I'm enjoying this journey so much, I'm enjoying making so much, that whether I get paid for the job or not, whether I manage to sell that bonkers piece that I've been looking at for the last 3 months or not, I'm loving this enough to do it for me. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to just go all out. And, I've said myself sometimes that my work is a wee bit bonkers, and it is far out. And it's always been accepted by the community as well, and they're like, oh my God, that's so weird. It's so cool. And I'm like, oh, thank you for loving me just as I am. Or it's a bit dramatic, but you know what I mean? So the week before, I kind of made this promise to myself. And I always think, when you send this stuff out, it comes back. And within a week, I had 3 missed calls from this woman in the government. And I was like, this has got to be a scam again, the cynic. Why are they offering me money for nothing? And I said, sorry, are you having me on? And I said, are you having me on? She goes, no, you applied for this, didn't you? And I said, yeah, but you've called me 3 times. And she says, yeah, some people have not managed to qualify, but your application managed to qualify. And I wouldn't have been there. I wouldn't have managed to get that application together without the education from here, and the confidence, and the sense of belonging that actually I am an artist. Yes, I'm a bit of a writer as well, and I'm also a mammy, and I'm also a daughter, and I'm all of these things. But the thing that keeps me ticking over and happy and mentally well is art. And if I can build a business, if I can take this germ of an idea that I've just been walking around, sleepwalking with this, why would I not take it? It's a no-brainer.
This shows all these opportunities as well that you just don't know. Like, as I've been sharing throughout the Start Selling Your Art, when you take those steps forward, sometimes when sitting in this little room now, you can't imagine what's out there until you start to take those steps forward, and then something comes your way. Like when I say that I set up United Art Space, God, if someone had given me a crystal ball and shown me years and years ago that this would be what I would be doing, I just would never have believed it, because I would never have believed that this was even possible, or like an opportunity that, and all the things that have come along my way. So it just shows that when you start to grow that confidence in speaking and pushing yourself out there and saying something simple like, I'm an artist, what can come your way? Thank you, Nicola. I'm going to jump to Nish.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
No, don't be sorry. No, it's amazing.
I was just going to say, I'm thankful that you did push through with your dream, and I'm doing the same with mine, because I know there's someone who wants these pieces of mine.
There are.
Thanks so much.
That's such a nice feeling, isn't it, when you know that you're pushing forwards for them, and yourself. Nish, you had a huge break as well, like Helen, didn't you? You had a 30-year break, and Nish has been on a podcast with us recently, so you can go and listen to that full podcast episode if you go to the Your Art Matters podcast, which, can I just take a moment to share very quickly? I opened it up, the podcast charts this week. We are number 10 in the visual art category of the UK, which is amazing. Like, we are above all these like big galleries and big institutions, and I'm like, how did we end up at number 10? The last time I looked, it was like 100.
Delighted.
Yeah,
so I'm not a bit surprised.
Absolutely,
that
fabulous.
Is fantastic.
It is incredible. So thank you first of all, before I go to this, thank you to everyone that listens to the podcast and downloads it, because that just literally made my week this week when I saw that. I don't look, because I'm usually right down the bottom. Not because it's rubbish, just because it's very, very hard to get up in a podcast chart. Very, very hard. So that was a really pleasant surprise this week. So Nish, there we go, you are now part of the top 10 podcasts. Maybe it was your feature that did that. Thank you. How are you doing, Nish?
I'm okay. I just seen a post by Caroline. They're all worried about that little post-it note.
I saw that come up. Let me just find the question. Yeah, I'm very distracted.
That's the naughty corner of post-it notes.
That post-it note there is actually Fiona Sheeman. If you are out there, sorry to put you on the spotlight, but you were the first person to join up to the hub this round, and you've been turned into a post-it note. So we must have to send you something special. You will be joined by others up there. You're not going to stay there alone. There are some other people joining. In fact, I'll just read some more people out. Tony's joined from Australia. Beverly, Janet, Tracy's joined up from France. We've got someone else, Sharon from Ireland. Oh, we've got another one from Croatia. Yes, Kristinka has joined us. Bianca has joined us from the USA. Laura, Lucy, Claire, Catherine, Karen, Rue from the UK, Sue from France, Simon's from France, who's tuning in right now, Julie, Kelly, Rebecca, Suzanne, all from the UK, Katharina from Belgium. Lovely. Nice to have you from Belgium. Anna Marie from the UK, Victoria. We've got Jackie joining us from the Netherlands. Fiona's joining us from Ireland. We're going to have an Irish meetup, definitely. So, yeah, we've got lots of lovely post-it notes to be. So there you go, Caroline. That made me giggle. So, Nish, tell me then, I mean, gosh, we've just spoken on the podcast about your journey, and we talked about those ups and downs and how we have the dry spells, and sometimes you've got projects going on and you're all fired up and then nothing. And I think one of the things that I've noticed now is that you have that ability to trust that process. You ride through it and you're going to get out the other side. Yeah. Would you agree, or am I making that up?
No, you do. It tends to sometimes go longer than other times.
Yeah.
But creative-wise, I've had a dry spell for a good few months now, since before Christmas.
Yeah.
But then, since before Christmas, I wanted to do this wedding portrait thing, and I've just had a mental block. Plus, my day job has got in the way. Mm-hmm. So you've got to consider all that and just try and find time and just try and block everything else out, but sometimes it's not always that easy. So I'm also now discovering things about myself in terms of mental health.
Yeah.
So I'm going through a process of getting assessed for autism.
Yeah. Which is major. Yeah.
So all that taken into consideration
Yeah.
it's all coming together at the moment. So
yeah, when you've got a lot of things going on in your life like that, sometimes it does put things on hold because it's impossible, isn't it, to juggle all the things. And actually, when you're going through something like that, that's deeply personal, that's about you and how, and it answers questions, that sometimes just takes all the priority and all the focus. I know definitely when I had my diagnosis that it did. There was nothing else that I could focus on. But I just want to sit here for a minute, Nish, and just say how courageous that is to put yourself forwards to go for that. And there's a lot of people that go through life undiagnosed or even just too scared to get the diagnosis. I know lots of people that just won't even go there because they're terrified of what they're going to say and they don't know if they can handle that. So I just want to applaud you for that, for owning your life and you're going forwards and you're
So
taking.
say all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people do ask me actually before joining about whether it's suitable for neurodiverse people inside the hub. And, I think the one thing that we have done inside the hub is created it so that it suits all different learning styles. So we have subtitles, we have audio downloads, video, things that you can read, live interaction, self-study interaction. So we've set it up to suit different learning styles and different ways of processing. The roadmap for those that just need to be, break this down, tell me just the next steps. I don't want to see everything else. So some people want to see everything and they want to jump in. Some people just want to be fed the next step. I don't want to see everything else. So Nish, what would you say to that in your experience of working through the content and how you use the hub?
Use the hub, use the content for what you need.
Yeah.
You don't need to go through everything.
Yeah.
Because you might have certain traits and you're only doubling yourself up on the workload. So only go to bits where you feel that you need that or you need that. You don't have to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people make mistakes on, that they just dive in, they think they have to do, and they treat it like a proper coursework. It's not.
Yeah.
So just be patient about it.
Yeah.
And just take your time, just one at a time. Some people, you might hit it off straight away and not do anything.
Yeah.
Not go for anything. Create one. It's like Simone did. She created one piece of artwork. Look at where she is now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she's done any of the coursework.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, so people have said that to me. They come on and they go, I haven't actually been in the hub, but I just tune into the live sessions and now I'm like flying, but I haven't actually done any work. And for some of us, we have to do the work. It's just everyone is just so different. You're right, Nish. And
even myself, I've only delved in and out. I've not the 7 keys I've not done fully yet.
Yeah.
Even even these 3-day workshops, I've listened to your videos 3 times every day.
Yeah.
Just to digest everything, because it takes me a while to digest everything. But I've not done the worksheets. But then I know if I create something, I know someone's going to offer me some money for it. The only reason I've kept the 3 drawings that I've done is for the exhibition. I've had people offer to buy them, but I've offered them prints instead.
Yeah.
Well, I know if I do something tomorrow, I know I'll sell it.
Yeah. That's good. We were talking actually.
If you asked me like 20 years ago that your artwork will sell, never, not in a million years.
No, you didn't have any confidence in what you were making, did you, or what you were doing?
No, it's just that first one that I did and I posted, and from that people were asking me for commissions and but the confidence just grew from there.
Yeah, and now what I love is that you're not afraid to put your work out there and you enjoy putting it out there, and that's incredible, isn't it? And that you can ask for the sale and you earn money from your artwork, and what an amazing feeling.
One thing I will say, that I'll be honest with you, money doesn't motivate me.
Yeah.
what motivates me is the response.
Yeah. Yeah.
For that particular piece of work that I get.
Yeah.
That motivates me.
Yeah. Do you know, when we did a survey a couple of years ago, we asked people the motivations behind doing what we do, and the number one was to make art that feels good. The second was for someone else to interact with it in some way and recognize it, and the third one was making money. when people were really honest, and that was the order of what was important. Yeah. Oh, Nish, it's amazing. I just think you are an incredible support to our community as well. I just want to say everybody is, by the way, but Nish really shows up and does help and comments and puts a lot of effort in, and is a rep inside our community as well as Chris. And I just want to say thank you, because it's very much appreciated.
Well, I hardly use Facebook much now anyway. Even my Instagram page, I only use it for when I'm posting stuff.
Yeah.
But Circle and the hub is open on my phone all day.
Yeah.
It's just there.
It's your lifeline.
Even in my day job, I've got it there. It's open. So I've got any messages that come up. Yeah, I'll just have a quick look.
Oh, bless your heart. That's so lovely. Thank you. So we've run out of time. That's the hour. We could just sit here chatting, couldn't we, all day long? It just goes so quickly. But I just want to thank our guests today, Chris, Nish, Beth, Helen, Nicola. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and taking time to talk to everyone watching, because it's always just so inspiring to hear other people's journeys and stories and challenges and experiences using the hub as well, because I know it can be daunting when you're signing up. I know there's going to be lots of people whose names I've just mentioned who are probably terrified. Some of you will be excited, but some of you are going to be terrified of what this means and what's going to happen now. And all I can say is I have no doubt you're going to absolutely love it. And who knows where this is going to take you in the next few weeks, months, year. And I'm just so happy that you're joining and being part of this amazing art family that we've created. So thank you to our guests. Thank you so much. We will put the links, because no doubt people will want to know more about you and your art. So we'll put the links below. And if you'd like to join us, the link is above to sign up. We close enrollment next Tuesday. That's UK time. So just be aware of the time zone differences. And I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.